Hello and welcome to the Rope Break podcast with me and Dan, and we're just going to discuss what WrestleMania basically and the aftermath.
Yeah.
So, what did you think of WrestleMania as a whole?
I really enjoyed night one. I thought night one was very, very good. I didn't like the finish to the first two matches. I thought Jay and Gunther as a wrestling match was okay. I think they could have done more. I think it definitely could have been better, but I don't think it was bad. I just think the finish of that match, I don't necessarily mind Jay making him tap. I think everything that Gunther's done to him and what he did to Jimmy in front of him, it made sense for the finish to be Jay making him tap. But why did he tap so quickly?
I'm wondering whether that was the plan all along because of him when he attacked Jimmy. He sort of held him and he was doing these holds. So it was sort of like I got a funny feeling that's how he's going to win it.
Yeah, I don't know why Gunther tapped so quickly.
Yeah,
like,
he did tap very quick.
But the second Jay wrapped his arm around his neck, he tapped. It's like,
yeah,
not being funny. I'm pretty sure Gunther getting you in that chokehold's going to be worse than Jay, and no one taps that quickly when Gunther's on them. So
I don't know. Maybe it was a timing thing, but I always thought that a bit like you, he tapped a bit quick. But I'm wondering whether that was because it was cut short. Because I reckon he would have choked him out until he passed out, sort of thing.
Yeah, but
instead of him tapping.
Yeah, but another 10 seconds wouldn't have made much of a difference, would it? You know,
no.
Gunther could have sold that a lot better, and at least tried to fight out of it, a little bit, and then tap.
Yeah.
It was the second the arm went round the throat, he tapped instantly. I didn't like that. I didn't like the ending of New Day and War Raiders. Again, I thought the ending was very poor, and I didn't think it was particularly a very good match either. I know a lot of people are a bit pissed off with New Day getting the belts back. I mean, I don't mind it. It's not what I'd have done, but if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But yeah,
I think they had to sort of. I'm not too sure if they had to sort of make them relevant again, because they've been on and off really since the heel turn. They've been very on and off. They haven't really connected as much.
Yeah.
And I think giving them the titles, maybe that will make them connect. I don't know, but like you said, it seemed a bit rushed as well. That match seemed quite rushed.
Yeah. And interestingly, I've actually seen a lot of people shitting on the Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton match and saying how that they didn't think it was very good and this. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I actually thought it was much better than what I thought it was going to be, and I actually thought that's the first time for me where I've seen Tiffany wrestle, and I watched a lot of her on NXT as well. And that match was the first time I've seen her wrestle, and I thought, do you know what? She actually looks really good. I actually thought it was. A good match. I think it was definitely the best match of the first half of night one. Obviously, I don't know whether night one was so good because of how good the main event was. I'm not sure. I thought night two as a whole was pretty poor, but obviously we'll get there in a minute. I think we do need to speak about the main event of night one before we move on to night two.
Yeah. I think night one was in general was a good starting point. But going back to the Charlotte match, it was pretty. I said to you at the time, didn't I? I said Tiffany's going to win because I would imagine the backlash would have been even worse if Charlotte had won, and Charlotte's old school, and sort of Tiffany is the new one, so she's putting over. I mean, to be fair, she can turn around now and say that she beat Charlotte at WrestleMania, if anything.
Yeah.
So she's putting over the younger talent, which is good, which is what they should do. I did think that it was predictable though what was going to happen, but I thought the match was okay. I didn't think, I didn't think it was bad.
No, I
Um,
think I think for me, I think I was just surprised by how good Tiffany looked.
mm,
Big moment, first Mania match for a title. Big match with
yeah,
one of the better storylines that was coming from SmackDown, leading it into Mania. One of the more intriguing ones because of the whole, is the beef real? Is it not? Did they go off script? Did they not? You know. Um, so I do think that there was quite a lot of intrigue, and I thought, she must have been really nervous. She's very, very young. She's very, very inexperienced, especially if you think, how long she's actually been wrestling. If you take away the fact that she's been on the main roster less than 12 months, if you think that she's got less than 4 years experience total,
yeah,
in terms of wrestling, I think she handled the occasion really well, and I was actually surprised by how good she looked in that match. Whether you like Charlotte or not, you can't deny that she's not a great wrestler. She's one of
yes,
the best women's wrestlers that we've seen in WWE, and the fact that Tiffany Stratton can put on a 20-25 minute match at WrestleMania against one of the best that they have in Charlotte and not look out of place, I think she did really well. And
yeah,
I'm not a Tiffy fan.
I
I've
am.
been kind of slagging her off a lot. Over the last 6 months, I've been slagging her off a lot. Um, but I look at I will give her a dues. I think she did really well.
I think going back to what you said, you don't know whether they had real beef or not. I think it was a work, and the reason I say that is because they had, if you remember, they had an interview on SmackDown where I think it was Wade Barrett. He interviewed both of them, didn't he, separately, and he done one at Charlotte, and she was like, I said, but it was interesting what Tiffy said because she said that no one was talking about her match until that happened, until what she said and how it kicked off on that SmackDown. And I was like, it's a work because why would she say like no one was talking about it? They've obviously said, look, you need to hype it up more. Go out there and say what you want. And then they've obviously she's then brought up the X's.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh shit, have they gone off script? I don't think they did. I don't think there was a script. I just think Triple H said, build your match. Go out and say what you like. There's a mic. It was just interesting the way she said it, but yeah, it doesn't take away the fact that was a good match. It's the best Tiffany Stratton's been for a while.
Yeah. Look, I think she has had decent matches on NXT. It's why I've got it in there because people listen to this that are saying that the Charlotte Tiffany match weren't good, saying, "Oh, you're just saying that because you're a fan of Tiffy." I'm not. I've been since she's come up to the main roster. I've actually been really pissed off with the way that the Triple H has booked her. To be honest, I think it's overkill. It's way too much too soon. She's literally been given everything straight away. She's not been there long, and she's pinning some of the top women's wrestlers. I think one of the first matches on the main roster, she pinned Bayley, and it's like, don't agree with that. Not that soon. She'd only been up a few months, and she wins the Money in the Bank. Then she wins the title, and I just thought like this woman, like I think Mania's kind of like proven, me wrong and them right, and I'm more than happy to admit that. But at the time, I felt like you're going to ruin her because we've seen plenty of superstars ruined by them being brought up far too soon when they're not ready.
Austin Theory.
Yeah, it's like, but like if you think that, most people have got years of wrestling in some capacity before WWE get them. then they'll spend a couple of months, depending on how much experience they've got, they'll spend a bit of time in the performance center, getting used to the WWE side of things. Then they'll go on TV on NXT,
Yeah.
and then it's like I don't like it when it took people like Gargano and Ciampa 5-6 years to get called up, and yet Stratton's on NXT for like 6-7 months and she's called up, and it's like, I'm not being funny. Like for example, in terms of wrestling ability, in my opinion, Tiffany Stratton's nowhere near as good as Roxanne Perez. Yeah, Roxanne Perez was on NXT for years. She's miles better and miles more ready than what Tiffy is. Tiffy's been there 6 months and she's caught. And I don't like how some aren't ready. They've got very little experience and they're called up after a few months. And then you've got others that are on NXT, like I said, Ciampa and Gargano were there for like 6 years. And it's like, it doesn't make sense because them two were wrestling before NXT. They've got probably 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years wrestling experience all in all. And you're still keeping them on NXT. Tiffy's got, say, 18-month wrestling experience, 6 months on NXT, and then she's called up, and it's like, and then it's instantly, she wins Money in the Bank, wins the belt, and it's like, fucking, like, why is she getting all that when others, it takes years and years and years and years and years to get there? And I've never really been a fan since they brought Tiffany up, and then it's not helped the fact that she hasn't wrestled, has she? She won the belt by cashing in Money in the Bank. She didn't have a match for it, and that was months ago. Like, if she defended the title once, and it was like a 5-minute match.
She did have a few matches, didn't she? I think with Nia Jax.
I think if you think of how long she's had the belt for, though, she hasn't wrestled.
No.
So, but like I said, I had loads of problems with the way that they were booking Tiffy, and didn't quite understand why the fans were going so nuts for her and chanting Tiffy time. I said, I'll hold my hands up and admit, I actually thought at WrestleMania, I thought she did very, very, very well, and I thought the match was good.
Yeah. I want to get onto the other ones as well. Obviously, we had it was Ray Phoenix versus El Grande Americano, right? Yeah. They literally just swapped out one Ray for another Ray, and I think that match would have been the same outcome if it was Rey Mysterio. I couldn't see that happening any other way. It was literally they just swapped out and kept the match the same. It was okay. There was a few. I've got to say, there was 2 filler matches I felt that were filler matches on night one, which was that one, and Cargill and Naomi was the other filler one.
I didn't think Cargill and Naomi was. Well, to be honest, I think that match was pretty much what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting a classic. I wasn't, it was okay. It was watchable. It weren't bad.
No, it was one of those matches where I think we all went, well, Cargill's winning that.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like, I felt like. And I might be the odd one out here. I think Tiffany Charlotte felt like a WrestleMania match. I think the main event of night one felt like a WrestleMania match, and I think Drew and Priest on night 2 felt like a WrestleMania match. Yeah. And now I'm struggling. Like out of the 8 to 10 matches all across both nights, 3 of them felt like. And I'm being kind, I think, by saying 3. And I don't really understand why it happened, why it's happening now every year, where Raw after Mania is always so much better than both nights of WrestleMania. And I don't get it. But it's the same every single year. Like they go, WrestleMania is the showcase of Immortals. It's the biggest event of the year. Well, then why don't you build it like that? Why don't you make the show where that is the best 2 nights of wrestling all year? Because it isn't. Like, I can't remember the last time where WrestleMania was the best event that they've put on that year. It never is.
Yeah.
There's always pay-per-views that year that you could. I can
Yeah.
always name 3 or 4 pay-per-views that year that are better than the Mania, and the Raw after Mania is always better than WrestleMania. And it's like you're ruining what WrestleMania should be. Like, I'm not being funny. Most of their matches felt like it was a Raw or SmackDown match.
Mm.
It
Yeah, you
didn't.
had. What do you think of the LA Knight Jacob Fatu one?
I, I thought it was okay,
Yeah, it
but
was. I thought it was good. It was once again. It's one of the definitely night one was definitely one of those that was more predictable. Like most of the matches we predicted, and we'll come on to the main event in just a minute. But I predicted what would happen in that match in our last podcast. So check that out because that was done. That was done 2 weeks before Mania, but I sort of predicted what was going to happen. But it was kind of predictable what was going to happen on night one.
Yeah.
Like we said weeks ago that Jay was going to win. We didn't see it happening any other way, did we?
No.
And all the other matches I think were all predictable in those words. But I couldn't see Jacob not winning, just the way they built it.
Yeah.
But it kind of like you said before, they gave LA Knight the title before and he done nothing with it. Dropped it to Shinsuke, won it back, done nothing with it, and now it's with Jacob.
Yeah, I
So
do
it's
think
like,
he will do something with it though. So,
I'm almost certain. Yeah, I'm certain there's going to be a match between him and Solo for it.
yeah, yeah.
Just the way that there was
know,
that tension and everything. So,
do you know what I thought on WrestleMania Saturday as well? And then Cole mentioned it on Raw.
yeah,
We'll get to that later. What happened on
yeah,
Raw between Gunther and Cole and Pat? But Cole mentioned on commentary like 5 minutes before Gunther came out and did what he did on Raw. He said that's 2 years in a row now where Gunther's been beat at Mania by the massive underdog. Sammy 2 years ago, or Sammy
yeah,
last year, and Jay this year. And it does get to the point where you go, is that a good thing, or is that actually a really shitty thing? Like you're building Gunther as this machine, this unbeatable machine. But then on the biggest night of the year, you have him lose to someone who he probably shouldn't be losing to
yeah,
2 years in a row. It's like, okay, so all year round, Gunther is unbeatable. Is this machine? And then at WrestleMania, Hornswoggle can beat him.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the booking decisions that they do are just like you were saying a minute ago. LA Knight wins the belt off Logan Paul last year's Mania. Oh my God, Logan Paul's finally not got the US title. Let's go. It's LA Knight. Finally got a belt. LA Knight deserves. It's going to be amazing. This isn't his fault, but they don't then use him. You know,
Yeah.
it was going 2-3 weeks without even seeing him, even though he's got a title. We weren't even seeing him. They then have him defend it a couple of times, but he'll have the belt for like 5-6 months, barely see him. He then drops it to Shinsuke, which was random as fuck. Shinsuke then did the same thing that LA Knight had done. You barely saw him. He almost never defended it, never wrestled, had it for months. LA Knight then takes it back off him. He did nothing with it again, and now he's dropped it again. It's like, but some of the things, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And like I said, I do want to get your opinion on what I was saying a minute ago. Why is it that Mania, that they say it's the showcase of Immortal, it's the event that every wrestler dreams of. CM Punk after the match is kissing the mat and he's in tears because his dream since being a little boy was main event in Mania because of how much it meant to him. Well, I'm not being funny, Punk. Over the last 10 years, that's not the WrestleMania that you grew up watching. Like, when me and you were teenagers, WrestleMania was fucking WrestleMania, and every single match was a WrestleMania. Well, not all of it, but you would feel like at the end of that pay-per-view, and it wouldn't just be one match, you'd feel like at least half of the matches on that WrestleMania card, you'd watch the match and you'd think, those matches you wouldn't see on a normal episode of Raw. it was it was either a stipulation or it was just more physical. It was faster paced. They were doing more moves to each other. It felt like a bigger match.
Yeah.
Than what you'd see on a normal Raw. But what we've seen over the last 10 years is Mania. 85% of the matches you see on it, you're like, I feel like I'm just watching a Monday Night Raw. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania.
Years ago, a lot of the matches were built over a long time. A lot of the WrestleMania matches were built, funnily enough, from the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't from, because over the last couple of years, it's been built over the winners. But years previously, when I've watched, like a lot of the feuds, a lot of other matches all started around the Royal Rumble time.
Yeah.
So you had like 2 months to build. But I find a lot of these matches haven't been built. They've only just been built. I mean, take the New Day and the War Raiders. That match was only built over a week, not even a week, like the previous night or something, wasn't it? The Raw before, if you know what I mean, the Raw before the Raw before, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there was no real build up to it. So it was just like, and the same with like Rey Mysterio. I mean, they've had their feud, yeah, but that match shot have come out of nowhere. He goes, "Oh, I'm gonna," and then Adam Pearce was like, "Oh yeah, you got it at Mania," just like that.
Yeah,
it's like that match. Sorry, but you're right in saying that match and the New Day one, they could have been on Raw.
Well, right. So prime example, yeah. This SmackDown. So what I'm saying is that how, for some reason, they're building the Raw after Mania and SmackDown after Mania as actual better events and putting on better quality matches than Mania. SmackDown this week is the Street Profits versus Motor City Machine Guns versus DIY in a ladder match for the titles.
No, it's not just a ladder match. It's a TLC match. Ladders, tables, and chairs match.
Exactly. So you're doing a TLC match between 3 incredible tag teams on a SmackDown, and yet you're having War Raiders versus New Day in a no-build match that no one cares about, with no interest in it. It's a nothing. The reason why it was match number 2, because like no one cares about it.
Yeah.
Whoever goes in second is whatever, So, but why? Why are you having that on the SmackDown Mania, and you're having New Day and War Raiders in a 5-minute match that was shit with a shit ending on Mania? But they do this every single year. You look, you look at the matches on the Raws and the SmackDowns after, and you think, like, I know we got interrupted to keep them both strong. I understand that, but when you've got Io Sky versus Stephanie Vicaire on Raw, it was a great match that everyone was loving. The fans was going nuts for it.
Yeah, and
yet I think that match got more of a reaction from the fans, and the fans was, "This is awesome!" Like how loud the fans were during that match felt more powerful and felt like the fans were more gripped on it than the Rhea Bianca Io match at Mania and the Charlotte and Tiffany match at Mania.
Yeah.
But they do this every single year. It's like, right, we call Mania the best 2 nights of the year, but we'll make the matches a little bit meh, and then Raw and SmackDown we'll make it fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to shit on it too much, but I think the night one, and I think Mania in the whole was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. Shall we get on to the main event?
Yeah.
Because we have to talk about the main event. Now, I did put a spoiler about 2 weeks ago when we done our last podcast, and I did predict the outcome. And obviously I was just talking before we come on, and could you see it going any other way than what it did?
After you fucking ruined it for me now. And to be honest, I don't know how you pulled that one out of your ass. I think you cheated, to be honest. I think you cheated. I think you somehow. I think you secretly built like your own. I know you build all your little car builds and stuff. I think you found like some kind of time travel machine, and you've time traveled into the future, see what happens, and then come back and go, "Oh, I've got a prediction."
I fucking wish.
Pulled that out. if you wouldn't have said that, I would not have thought of that. I wouldn't. It wouldn't. And
well, when we talked about it on the last podcast, you went, "Oh shit, I ain't thought of that." You went, "That's a really good idea."
it's a really good idea. I'd not thought of that.
Yeah, it
I
was.
wasn't.
Well,
I wouldn't have thought of
Paul Heyman is like they said it in before, and I think they said it on commentary as well during the thing that Paul Heyman has screwed over every client he's ever had. Even CM Punk did on the Monday when he came out. CM Punk said he screwed me over last time, and so he should have known better. And it's like, if you look at Paul Heyman, he has screwed over every client he's had. So Brock Lesnar, Big Show, Kurt Angle, CM Punk, list goes on.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Take the moment out of it. Take Heyman turning on Punk and Roman and siding with Seth. If you take that moment out of it, what did you think of the actual match?
Good.
Yeah. Main event of Mania worthy?
I think when you've got those three in a match, I think it has to be a main event. It's a weird one because that match either had to start WrestleMania or end WrestleMania because of how big it was. It was one of those matches you don't just put on at the start, like that in the middle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think they deserve. I just mean, did you think the quality of the wrestling match before the Heyman turn?
Yeah.
Was it main event of Mania worthy? Was the actual match good enough?
I think it was. I personally think it was. I thought it was really good, and it's sort of. I don't know if we watched like we've sort of gone through the matches, and we've sort of gone, they're match. Though we both have said that night 1 and 2 were really good, and like you said, you're wondering whether it's because of the main event that we thought the third night 1 was good.
I think night 1 as a whole was a lot better than night 2. I didn't enjoy night 2. I was very disappointed with night 2 as a whole. Night 1, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was actually very good. I think that the match was really good. I think it could have been done better, but I think everything could have been done better. Yeah. I think they could have wrestled more. I think there could have been more of an actual wrestling match between the three of them. It's never going to be bad. It's always going to be a very good match when you've got them three in the ring. All three of them.
It's more of a that match was more of a storytelling one.
Yeah.
Than
and that's what match. Because what I was going to say was I thought it was great, and I think you've got to take everything into account. And when you take everything that happened in that match into account, it was an amazing main event that couldn't have been done much better, to be honest. From just pure wrestling standpoint, if you take the story out of it and you just watch the actual wrestling. So if you wouldn't have watched any of the weeks previously, and you had it on mute, so you've not got the commentators telling you what's been going on, and he hates him, and and all that. What's Heyman going to do? If you muted it and you just watched the actual wrestling up until the Heyman low blow and Punk, it probably wasn't actually as good as it should have been with the quality of them three. But I think you've got to take everything into account, and sometimes you can't do a 5-star unbelievable match and tell this really important, amazing story with a massive turn and arc in it as well. It's really difficult to incorporate both, which is why we look back at matches, hence wwhy Stone Cold and Bret Hart was, it's just won the Hall of Fame
moment.
Because that match it was an incredible match and had a really good storyline as well. But it's very, very difficult to do. As soon as he low blowed Punk, I have got to say as well, Roman's obviously said recently that he feels like he's only got a couple of years left in him.
2 years left,
and then he needs to do something less physical. Roman, just say you're going to fucking Hollywood, mate. Just say I'm going joining my cousin in Hollywood. I need to do something less physical. So Hollywood then, just fucking say it. We all know what you mean. But what I would say is when Heyman low blowed Punk, I thought the acting from Roman was very, very good. It was his acting in that moment. His bottom lip was quivering. His eyes was filling with tears. My wise man's chose me. Oh, I'm the chosen one.
Yeah.
You know, but I thought his acting in that moment was actually very, very good.
And then he grabs and he gets the chair and he's like smiling away. He's like,
Yeah,
whack,
yeah,
whack. Look,
yeah,
well, I could see it coming because because Paul Heyman went, get Seth, and then he stood back, and I was like, he's gonna fucking low blow him or something. He's gonna take the chair or something.
Yeah,
I could see it coming because I was like, why has he stepped back? He could have stepped to the side,
yeah,
or anything. No, he stepped behind him.
Yeah,
and then I was.
I know we'll speak about the main event of Raw in depth later, but I just wanted to make this point now, and I can't without incorporating something that happens, you know, in Raw. I think again, Seth knowing his moment is his own, you know, acting ability and being able to tell a story. If you look at all of that, when he stands up from the rope, now he's got his back to it, so he doesn't know exactly when the lobo happens. He's got to rely on the crowd. So he's like struggling. Oh, he's climbing up from the ropes. Oh, I can't get to my feet. He's selling it like you know, basically saying, "Are we now going to get, you know, the basically what we had at Mania last year, where Roman hits Seth in the back with a chair, and Seth sells it and falls over the ropes the way Roman did when Seth turned on the Shield." So he's building that, and as soon as the crowd goes nuts because Heyman's low-blowed Roman, everything changes. His facial expression changes, stance changes, and then he doesn't even look. He just sticks one hand out to Heyman for Heyman to give him the chair without even looking, without even turning and looking. But him incorporating that in the moment of like, you know, well, I know what's coming, so I don't need to see it. And then it happened again on Raw when Braun Breaker comes out. When Braun spears Punk, Seth doesn't turn around. He knows that Punk's behind him. Braun goes running at him. He doesn't even move. He just stands still. And Braun runs around him and spears Punk. And he's just stood there. And he doesn't even need to look behind him because he knows what's happening. And I think the fact that we've had, you know, nearly 10 years of him calling himself, you know, the architect and the visionary. Well, those nicknames couldn't be, you know, any more, you know, kind of, you know, relevant now to what he's doing at the minute.
Well, did you see how quick Breaker came into the ring though?
Yeah, he's just,
on Raw, because when Roman went, ooh, he'd run in the ring, bounced off the rope, and speared him before he'd gone, ooh, and he's like, bang. It's like, how fucking quick is that guy?
Yeah,
getting over, he went over the barrier in the ring, bounced off, and speared him, all while Roman was just going, ooh, and I was like, fucking, that's quick.
Yeah, he's absolutely rapid, isn't he?
Yeah.
They always say that he runs the ropes at 23 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Him spearing you at full pelt, it's like being hit by a fucking car, isn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But going back to, it was just, I predicted it because I was like, the reason I said what I said last fight was because I couldn't see it coming out any other way. Roman, because you had two Paul Heyman guys in the match, and he screwed over everybody else, and it was like he's going to screw over those two and side with Seth, because I just couldn't see it any other way. Just couldn't see it going any other way.
Whereas before it happened, when we were chatting a couple of weeks ago about it, I was more like, yeah, but I can't see Seth as a Heyman guy. He doesn't need it. Like he's one of the biggest names in the company on his own. He doesn't need it, you know. Whereas, like when Heyman first went with Roman wasn't particularly good on the mic. He's got a lot better, of course, because he's been working with Heyman every week. But when Heyman first joined him, Roman wasn't particularly good on the mic. Seth, a few years ago, wasn't particularly good on the mic. I think over the last 18 months to 2 years, I think I go back to Seth's rivalry with Edge. I think Seth learned a lot off Edge when he had the rivalry with Edge. You could see that his promos was getting a lot better, and since then he's only got better and better. But when I looked at Seth, I was like, Like,
yeah,
we'll go on to night 2 now. But like, if you'd have took Cody Rhodes from just after last year's Mania, right?
yeah,
And how hot he was, it'd have been like sticking Cody with Heyman. Then was that, well, he doesn't need it. He doesn't need
yeah,
Heyman.
yeah,
You know, he's one of the biggest names in the company, one of the biggest stars in the company. Great on the mic, great in the ring. He doesn't need a manager. You know, and I felt like it was going to take something away from Seth having, because
mm,
like people saying, which is why I agreed with you that I didn't think Heyman was going to be back with Punk permanently. Is Heyman can't wrestle. Heyman
no,
can't do anything physical. All Heyman can do is talk for you. But if there's one thing CM Punk doesn't need, is someone fucking talking for him. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he's
yeah,
incredible on that mic. Like, there's no way that you're going to have someone do CM Punk's talking for him. But obviously, with what transpired on Raw, which we'll get to after we discuss night 2, I think things are becoming more clear as to what they're actually going to do moving
yeah,
forward. But night
yeah,
2,
yeah.
I thought I was disappointed in night 2 as a whole. I thought Drew and Priest was very, very good. I thought it was a very good.
Once again, when you break it down, I thought night 2 was okay. The ending was rubbish. Obviously, we'll come on to that. But just like with night 1, there was only, I would say, 3, maybe 4 matches where you were like, they were good, and the other ones were just sort
Well,
of throwaway.
have you got them in front of you now?
Yeah.
Right. So just go through them one by one, and we'll quickly.
Yeah, okay. So obviously we had the first one, wasn't it, with Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Bianca Belair. I did say as well on the last show, I couldn't see Io not losing.
Yeah.
Just because of they've been this thing, right? They've been building such a fucking long time, and they were like, oh no, Rhea's not part of it. And then there were tensions between Rhea and Bianca, and then they were like, oh yeah, after everything, we're going to put Rhea in the match, which we said should have been all the way along. I don't know why they played with the idea for ages.
No. I'm wondering if Rhea was injured. I don't know.
Well, I've seen some reports this morning saying Bianca actually is. They reckon she broke some fingers or something, about 6 or 7 fingers.
Jesus.
But yeah, and they kept forgetting. If you remember the whole rivalry, even when they run the Rumble, they kept forgetting Io, pushing her away. And I was like, they're forgetting Io every time. They're obviously building up Io winning.
Yeah.
As like the person they don't like, they've forgotten about, if you know what I mean. And then she wins. So it was obvious that she was going to win. It was a good match. It was a good way to start off Mania. It weren't overly bad, but I think the problem is they had that sort of match on Raw a couple of months ago or a couple of weeks ago, and it's like we've seen all this.
Yeah, I think
You're just repeating what you've done.
Yeah. I think, yeah, no, I agree, especially after Io took the belt off Rhea. Every time that they've had any kind of segment, Bianca and Rhea have made it all about them and have forgotten. And I think the way that they did it was very clever. Like, because there isn't anything much more disrespectful than you trying to, you know, split up and go, no, both of you calm down. You try and do the right thing, and someone palms your face away. Someone puts the hand on your face and pushes your face away. There isn't really anything much more disrespectful than that. And the fact that both Rhea and Bianca kept doing that to her organically made the fans go, no, do you know what? If that's the way you're treating Io when she's champion, fuck you both.
Yeah.
Do you know, and like, even though Rhea is a babyface and everyone loves her, everyone started booing Bianca recently. But I do think that definitely in that match, everyone wanted Io to win because of the sheer disrespect. It was like,
well, we'll come on to the crowd reactions
it was basically Rhea versus Bianca, and we're both the stars, and it's like, well, hang on, Io's got the fucking belt, she's the champion,
and that's how they built it, and I think that's why the payoff was really good because that went off. There is one match now. Obviously, we're watching it, and I went off to make something to eat during this match, and that was the AJ Styles and Logan Paul match. So I did miss some of it, but I don't think I missed much. It was one of those matches where I didn't care anything about it at all.
Yeah.
It was one of those matches that was put together a couple of weeks ago, and I couldn't really care less about it. It was really weird
No.
because I think
Yeah.
Logan Paul's quite good. AJ Styles is phenomenal, but it was just a match where I was like, oh. And then I think that the outcome was predictable as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think. Look, as a wrestler, Logan Paul is actually very, very good.
Yeah,
He's just not likable, which is good. He's good if he's a heel, but he's just not likable, and I can't see anything ever changing.
yeah,
You know, obviously, all he can ever be is a heel, but I don't know. I get so even though he is actually very good in the ring, most wrestling fans would rather he wasn't there. Even
yeah,
though he's good to watch, it's like, yeah, but we don't want you there, mate. Just fuck
yeah,
off. Like it's not. You know, it's a different kind of heel. Like it's genuine. We don't like you, and we don't want you there. You know, and I do feel sorry for him because he isn't the same immature bellend that was doing stupid shit years ago. Let's not mention the whole Japan thing.
yeah,
But he's not that same idiot that was doing idiotic things when he was younger. You know, he's married now or engaged. He's got a baby. You know,
yeah,
he's grown up, he's matured, and he's actually very, very good in the ring.
yeah.
You can't take anything away from him. He is very
No,
good. I personally think that it's a disgrace that Logan Paul's beating AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and I won't understand anything any different. AJ
yeah,
Styles is still one of the best wrestlers and best performers in the world. Logan Paul, as good as he is, shouldn't be beating AJ Styles at a WrestleMania. It's a joke.
yeah,
And one thing I was happy about was when Karrion Kross came out and got involved, he got a massive pop from that Mania crowd.
yeah, yeah. I think that
They
character
need to
turn
start
because we
pushing
had
Karrion now.
they're definitely pushing him because there was that what was it? There was that interview he did, didn't he? He done a sat down interview and he just went
Amazing.
off on one,
It was
swearing,
amazing.
going, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was. And everyone's like, oh shit, is that what is going on here?
Well,
And everyone's like, it's a shoot. But then he appeared on Raw, and I was like,
yeah,
well, they're obviously pushing him. They're obviously saying, just
yeah.
be you.
Well, yesterday, which is obviously after the Raw,
Yeah,
Scarlett posted on her Instagram something along the lines of, no matter what happens next, I'll always stand by him and be proud of my husband for standing up
yeah,
for what I believes in, regardless of the consequences. So everyone's like, shit, are they going to fire him? Which I can't see. I think,
Then he appeared on
yeah.
Raw,
I
and I
mean,
was like,
I do definitely think that there was elements of that he probably shouldn't have said. I think there's genuine anger and frustration there. And like Scarlett's, the only thing Scarlett says in that is, we've got a combined like 18 years experience wrestling. And what was our involvement on Mania? You know, and
yeah. Did you just talking about that actually about like with Kieran Cross and that and saying what he wants? Did you see there was they did a Stephanie McMahon? You know she's doing that show at the moment. She had
yeah,
CM Punk. She had CM
yeah,
Punk on it recently. I saw some clips of it on YouTube, and they talked about that infamous pipe bomb.
yeah.
And I was like, have you seen any of it?
I've seen clips of it. I've not seen a lot of it.
Because she goes, how did that all come about? And he went, I had generally concerns in the company, right? He goes, and I was frustrated. And Vince McMahon said, go and air your grievances live. And he was like, you sure? He goes, yeah, there's the mic. There's a live mic. Go and air all your grievances. And that's when he sat down. And he goes, then I started talking. And then he goes, then Vince knew I was going to talk about something I shouldn't be talking about. And that's when he cut the mic off.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. So was it a work? That infamous pipe bomb, was it a work then? Because it seems like it. You know, there's all this speculation all these years of whether it was a work or whether it was grievance, all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, I think Punk's just told us it would have worked.
No, I think there was definitely elements of it that was a pipe bomb. That there was definitely elements of it that he shouldn't have said. You know, and
yeah, well, he said he goes. Vince
he
knew I was frustrated.
That, so.
Yeah, Vince said I knew I was frustrated, and he goes, and Vince McMahon handed him a mic and said, "Go and air your grievances." He goes, "There's a live mic. There's nothing. Just go out there and air everything that's on your chest." And he said, "I did." He said, "Then I went to talk about something I shouldn't have talked about, personally about Vince McMahon." And he goes, "That's when the mic got cut."
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, "That pissed me off."
I must admit, I watched that carrying and
carrying, yeah.
I thought it was incredible. Whether it's a work or whether it's just genuinely thought, "Oh, what a fucking hell!" Obviously, look, they can all if they're good. Obviously, not all of them can. Some of them are shit, but a lot of them are good actors as well. So you can never know certain. Scarlett's reaction felt real when he put her hand on his arm. She looked a little bit scared. She was like, "Babe, you're gonna get us fucking fired here if you carry on."
Yeah.
The elements, and again, this is why we all love wrestling, is because it's moments like that you never know what's a work and what's real. And I don't want to know. I'd rather not know. I'd rather have their own opinion on it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In that moment, I just thought it was incredible. It was 2.5 minutes of absolute. That's not a pipe bomb. That was a fucking nuke that he dropped.
You can even see the interviewers. They're like, "Should he be?"
Yeah.
And they kept looking at each other like awkwardly, like, "Shit, what's going on here?"
I hope that they stick a rocket on him now. And
I'm wondering whether they said, "Go and do this interview," and he goes, "What can I say?" And they've said, "We'll say whatever you want." And then he's done that, and people have gone, "Oh shit, I didn't realise."
You know what I think it was for me that made me think, definitely, if not all of it, elements of it were real. The fact that he says, "Do you know what the best advice I've ever received was from Bill Goldberg," where Bill Goldberg says, "Be a good soldier." Do you know what being a good soldier got me? Got me released.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
All right, getting back to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned this before. We've got Damian Priest and obviously Drew McIntyre in a street. Man, that could have gone either way for me.
I was glad Drew won.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, at the end of the day, I was really glad that Drew won. He needed it for starters. Yeah. He has been on a losing streak for the last couple of weeks. He needed that. It was a good match. It was one of those like we were saying. It's one of those stipulation WrestleMania matches that we should be getting more of.
Yeah,
where it was like a proper street fight, and they didn't just start wrestling in the ring. No, they started grabbing stuff from underside. There was tables. There was everything. There was the steel steps. Everything was. It was like, yeah, this is what. And the great thing about that, it was a great match that didn't have any blood or anything like that. It didn't need it.
No, it was a very good match. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a really good one. Then we come on to obviously the tag team match, which obviously we'll talk about. It was the whole situation of the women's tag team match was just like what happened on Raw as well. It's like, I don't know why they've done this, but Lyra's team, and I sent you a message. Do you remember I sent you a message about who the partner could be? And you said, "Oh, it might be Paige."
Well, no, I was mentioning. I thought it'd be Becky. Becky makes sense because they're both Irish. I was just saying, if it's not Becky, potentially Paige. I personally do think Paige will return at some point. I just don't think she'll return as a wrestler. I think she'll return as a manager that occasionally wrestles. I do think she will return at some point. She's not in a wrestling capacity. But I don't think there's any way of speaking about this without speaking about what happened on Raw and kind of mixing it up a bit. But I think it was a nice surprise. It was a big pop for. But here's what I don't understand is on Raw, Cole said that Bayley's dislocated a shoulder and has got a torn labrum, which is the same injury that Finn Balor had that kept Finn out for like 14 months.
Yeah.
So that's a bad injury. So that explains why she's been pulled. But every single thing online saying it's bullshit. She's not injured.
Yeah, I don't.
Um,
I don't know about that, and we'll imagine we'll find out in due course. But yeah, going like when she came out, I was like, well, they're winning, aren't they? I was turning to my wife. I said, they ain't losing.
no.
Liv and Raquel definitely losing. They're going to be the new tag champ, which they were, and they said it actually on the commentary as well. They went, "Oh, Becky was Becky 2 belts. Now
No,
Lyra is Lyra 2 belts."
yeah.
Um,
I do kind of have to say though, because it is important. If Bailey isn't legitimately injured, then that's actually a disgrace and it's massively disrespectful. And I think we've given Triple H so many flowers over because he's definitely made WWE exciting again and better again. But if he's had any part or he's allowed, and at the end of the day, he's the boss. What he says
yeah,
goes. If he's allowed Bailey to be pulled so that Becky can step in, is a joke. Like everything Bailey's done, it's not like I think pulling anyone from Mania, going actually we've changed our minds. I know we've told you that
yeah,
you're going to have a match at Mania. We're now going to pull you, and we're going to because we think Becky's better. Like
yeah.
doing that to anyone is really shitty. But doing it to someone like Bailey, who's won everything, has dedicated the last 15 years of her life to WWE, who's
Well,
you know,
I
I
said
just
they,
I don't
they
like it.
mentioned it. They mentioned it on Raw as well, and they said, "I don't think like I don't. Maybe she is injured, or maybe she isn't. I think this is a Jade Cargill situation because it's weird because they mentioned it on Raw. They went, we still don't know who attacked Bailey, and I'm like, well, I fucking do. It's obviously Becky after what happened on Raw. So are they
Yeah.
gearing up a match between Becky and Bailey? I don't know. Obviously, time will tell. But it was just weird that they had the match and then they just randomly went, oh, well, they're having a rematch on Raw. Drop the titles back. I really feel during that beatdown that she had, there was some of the crowd reactions throughout the whole weekend was like bizarre. So she beat down. We'll talk about Raw as well now. So they had the match on Raw. They lost the belts back to Liv and Raquel, and then Bailey turned on Lyra. Becky turned on Lyra, and I was like, I feel really sorry for Lyra Valkyrie because she won the Intercontinental belt. She hasn't really done anything with it. She was the second one or the first one. Was she eliminated from the Royal Rumble? I think she was the second. Then she was the first one to get eliminated from the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And I said to Moore, I said, I really feel sorry for her because there's going to be a match now, isn't there, for the Intercontinental title where Becky's going to win it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't see her not unless this is a Tiffany Stratton Charlotte thing where Lyra's going to beat her.
Yeah, I personally don't understand why you return the man Becky Lynch in the man character and turn heel again. Like her last run, she was a heel, and like
Yeah,
how big the pop was when she returned at Mania. Everyone's happy to see it, and they've not got that many massive babyface women.
no,
Like they don't really use Bailey, even though she's a
yeah,
babyface, but we don't really see her. Rhea Ripley is a big babyface, but she's a very different kind of babyface. She's not like a Becky Lynch the man babyface, where it's almost like rock level pops and everyone's like, wow,
yeah.
that's bizarre. And I feel like WWE needed that strong female babyface, and you've got that in Becky Lynch. Why have a return and then instantly turn her heel? It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Doesn't make sense,
Well,
especially when they've already got a load of heels.
the thing that made it even worse, and I'll say about the crowd, was because she turned heel and the crowd were fucking cheering, and
Yeah.
she done a move on Lyra twice, and then they were like, one more time.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, really? I mean, Lyra's really good. I mean, we've said it before, we're quite champions of her. She's fucking brilliant. She's really good.
Yeah.
They just got to give her that shine. But it almost looked like the crowd has given up on her now, which is bad because it means that once you lose like the respect like that from the crowd, it's sort of you either turn a heel or
but
you
look,
lose it. No,
I've said this. Once we go back to normal in a week's time, when it's not the Mania crowd, because fucking all the fans at Mania all of a sudden started cheering for fucking Dom.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll get onto that as well. We'll get onto that because
But like,
yeah, that's what I mean. The whole WrestleMania thing.
They've booed him so badly that you can't even hear him speak for the last
Well,
like 2 years.
well,
And now
did you hear they were? Did you hear as well? I don't know if you made it out, but we'll come on to the last match. But did you hear they were booing Cody?
Yeah, yeah. But
I don't know
again,
what.
why?
I don't know
Why?
what. Yeah, I don't know what happened in it, the whole
Because
Mania
Mania
thing that they
crowd.
were booing
Because
people they
Mania,
shouldn't be and all that.
you
So
can never predict a Mania crowd, which is what they've
no,
said for years. Because it's a mix of people from all over the world. It's not a
yeah,
normal crowd. Just because it's in Vegas, on a normal Monday Night Raw, the majority of the people there are from the Vegas area.
yeah,
Whereas at WrestleMania, there's people from every single country all over the fucking world. So you do get a very weird mixed crowd that do things that isn't the norm. Hence
yeah,
why Cody Rhodes has been the biggest babyface we've seen since John Cena was there full time as the face of the company. This massive babyface. Cody's been that for like 2 years, where he's got massive pops, massive reactions, cheered like Rock and Cena level cheers and pops for 2 years, and now all of a sudden at Mania, they're all booing him. Why? No
yeah,
idea. For the
yeah,
last 2 years, you can't even hear Dom speak. Dom can't cut a promo. The boos are that loud. He has to just walk out the ring. He's given up even trying to cut a promo because the boos are that loud. They boo him out of the fucking ring.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden at Mania, they're cheering and popping for him like Stone Cold Steve Austin's turned up.
yeah,
Why? It
yeah,
doesn't make any sense. But this is what happens every year at Mania.
yeah. And we'll get on. Well, should we get onto that match anyway?
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was really good, really
It
good.
was a good match. Yeah, I wanted
Finn,
again. I didn't get what I wanted because that crowd fucking suck. I wanted them to boo Dom, which is what I was expecting, and cheer Finn. The reaction that the fans gave to Dom was what I wanted for Finn, and I wanted. So, spoiler for Raw coming up. JD returns on Raw. We'll get
yeah,
into that in a minute and how that goes down. But you could have had JD return at Mania because we know how close JD and Finn are, and you could
yeah,
have had JD and Carlito cost Finn the belt, give Dom the belt, and then Dom, JD, and Carlito all beat the shit out of Finn after the match. That way, you're turning Finn babyface, which means you can get Finn's babyface music back. You can get the old, Finn Balor babyface back doing the Demon King and all that. That was what I wanted, and I didn't get that because all the Mania fans were cheering for fucking Dom.
I'm almost
I just
certain
don't
that
get it.
we're going to get Finn as a babyface
Well,
because
we have to because he now did it at Mania. Did you notice the duh?
yeah,
He hasn't done that since he turned heel.
and
He
not only
hasn't
that,
done that once since he joined Judgment Day and turned heel.
yeah,
And
and Dom
he's now
Dom
been doing
pinned
it.
him to win.
Yeah, but he's now been doing it on live events, and now he did it during his entrance on Mania, and he hasn't threw his arms up in the air. It's like he's
Yeah,
practicing doing that again.
and he goes to Dom, didn't he, when they were talking on Raw, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm happy for you," and then looks at the title as if say that's fucking mine.
Yeah, but they've been dragging this out for
Yeah,
months now. I'm getting bored, which is why I was hoping at Mania we were going to get the Judgment Day turning on Finn. And I don't want Finn turning on Dom because then that makes Finn the heel. You need them to turn on Finn so that Finn's the babyface.
yeah, I'm
Um,
almost certain that's what's going to happen.
yeah, but we could do it.
But
You do it.
yeah, yeah. Overall, though, the whole match was good. I really like that.
I thought it was a very good match. I thought that the ending was good. I think we all loved to hate Dom. I think he deserved that moment. To be honest, I was happy for. I didn't mind. Me personally, like I've
Yeah,
told you this a million times. Like, what was it? 5 weeks ago, I was in Bray. I was walking around Bray, where obviously Finn was born and raised in Ireland. I've got family members from Dublin and that have lived in Bray, so I'm kind of biased because of kind of like I've got family connections to where Finn's from, but as much as I'd have loved Finn to win the belt, I actually thought the way that they did it was great, and I don't know if that was the plan, and they've had to change it because no one was expecting 60-odd thousand people to be cheering and clapping for Dom. No, there's no way anyone could have predicted that because there weren't even a tease of it. It's not like recently he's been getting better reactions. Like the last time we seen Dom, he was getting booed out of the building.
Yeah,
there was no way anyone on earth thought
predicted that.
63,000 people was all of a sudden were going to be chanting "Dirty, dirty Dom, dirty Dom."
Yeah.
And clapping him and cheering him and popping for him like he's fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. No one had seen that coming. So I wonder if they've kind of called it an audible and they've gone, yeah, we can't do this now. But we've got 60,000 people cheering for fucking Dom. We can't. It's just not going to work now. I think maybe they're hoping for maybe next week's Raw when it's the normal fans, they're all booing him again. But that now won't happen now because we know what wrestling fans are like. Live fans there, we're all fickle, we all get caught up in it. And now moving forward, every fan's going to be like, oh, well, it's the normal thing to do now, it's to cheer Dom, so we're going to cheer him. So that's it now. He's now automatically babyface.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, come on. Obviously, Randy Orton.
Yes.
And
I called it.
Say his name.
Called it.
Yeah, lots of, it was a mixed reaction, I thought, because they should have brought him out in Scotland, shouldn't they, when they were in Scotland?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't understand. I'll be honest, I don't. It's like Joe Hendry's even said it himself. He's just done an interview with Ariel Helwani, like 6-7 hours ago, I think. I was watching it. I was watching bits of it this morning. And Joe Hendry even says it himself. People online are saying that WWE have buried me. It's like, if that's burying me, bury me every week. Keep doing it. I don't. Loads of people were pissed off that it was Joe Hendry and it wasn't Aleister Black or Rusev. And then they're like, oh, so you brought Rusev out on Raw. Aleister Black, we know's debuting on SmackDown. Why have you not done that? Yeah, but you don't bring back Rusev and Aleister Black to have them get beat to Randy Orton. And it's Randy Orton's 20th WrestleMania, and the way they were building him with the Kevin Owens stuff, you're not going to turn around to Randy and go, right, so originally you was written to win a massive match against Kevin Owens and you were going to win it, but now we're bringing Aleister Black or Rusev back, so now you're going to lose. You're not going to do that to someone like Randy Orton. No way of winning. Like, Randy had to have an opponent that he could beat where no one would care. And I'm like, yeah, but Joe Hendry's TNA champion and having him beat so quick. No, bringing Joe Hendry out at WrestleMania to be Randy Orton's opponent is the biggest moment of his fucking life.
Well, he said it on that interview you were talking about. He goes, why did he give you the third one at the end? And he said, he's done it to everyone. He's done it to Austin. He's done it to. It's that bit where you get up, you sort of shake his hand, and he double cross you. He said it's like an initiation, and he goes, you couldn't ask anyone anywhere for initiation like Randy Orton.
Randy did a Joe Hendry turn into an the pose. Like, you're not going to fucking get a bigger fucking,
Look, when Joe Hendry leaves TNA, which he will do, he will go. I'm almost certain he won't be going to NXT or come straight to the main roster, and he will be fucking huge.
Yeah, I look like everything. To be honest, WWE couldn't have done that any better.
Yeah,
it couldn't have been Aleister Black or Rusev because whoever Randy's opponent has to lose. You're not going to return someone like them to and have them get beat. You're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
What's the point? Look, Aleister Black's amazing. Oh, he's so good. Oh yeah, but he's just got beat.
Also in that interview that you were talking about, apparently it came out that he was. I think they asked Randy who they wanted.
Yeah,
he handpicked Joe Hendry.
Yeah, because I think it had to be someone who Randy could beat quite quickly, which an RKO from, and the way they wrote it as well, where Joe Hendry's had attack moves, and then he does his turn and look down the camera, which sets up an RKO from out of nowhere. It's been caught. Yeah. It's not like the match has started, Randy's RKO'd him instantly, and then it's over. Like, at least he got a few moves in. Yes, it was over very, very quickly, but you can explain that away. You're not saying, oh, well, why is he TNA champion if he's being beat that quickly? Well, he's in there with Randy Orton, one of the best of all time, and he's been caught.
Yeah.
It happens. He's got caught up in the moment. It's WrestleMania. The fans are all singing his name and singing his song. So Randy's down on the mat. So he's done his pose. He's looked into the camera, soaking up the moment, and he's got caught up in the moment, and he's been blindsided and caught by an RKO, and he's got beat. Like, they couldn't have really done it much better, to be honest. I thought the way that they did that was perfect. And yet I go online, and all I've seen over the last few days is everyone moaning about it, and it should have been a better opponent, or the buried Joe Hendry. How is that burying him?
No, that's not burying him, and that's done massive for himself, massive for TNA.
Is a TNA
represent?
Yeah. Is a TNA wrestler
WrestleMania
coming out at WrestleMania to wrestle Randy Orton? How is that burying him?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking making him, not burying
him. Then all we've got to talk about is obviously the main event.
Yes.
John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. I did say this a couple of weeks ago as well. We both discussed it. We couldn't see John Cena not winning.
No, and both of us did say that the match will be shit. Both of us did say the match would be shit. So, and it was. So
yeah, it was. So the problem, and it goes back to Raw as well. I mean, John Cena wanted to be a heel, but I can't. He just doesn't come across as a proper heel.
No.
And he uses phrases like they used to years ago when he was a heel, like like pissing off the crowd and all that. He isn't Drew McIntyre when it comes to being a heel. He is a John Cena heel, which is really bad.
And I don't know. I just.
Look, everything he says when he's talking, and he done it on Raw as well when he come out and he was talking about, the crowd, that woman there, and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, it was cringe. It was really cringe.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's like, this is awful.
I hate saying it because Randy Orton has been great. Obviously, he's now won 17 titles. He's broke Ric Flair's record. It's a massive moment for him. It's a massive moment for wrestling. I think he deserved it for the career he's had. We've been fortunate enough to witness his entire career. We're not old enough to witness Ric Flair's entire career. So, John Cena from our era has broke Ric Flair's record. He's won 17, and we've seen every single thing. We've seen him from his debut to now, and we've seen everything in between. But since he's come back, he cringes the fuck out of me. It's so cringe. Like, and he's an actor. His job now isn't wrestling. His job now is to be a Hollywood actor. And every time, like, the fans are cheering and booing, and it's like pigeon heading, dead fast pigeon heading. Look, and it's so over the top and cringy, and it makes me cringe.
Have you seen the show that he does, Peacemaker? He's a better heel in Peacemaker than he is in WWE. I don't know whether it's the writing or whether they just said to him, go out and do what you want, and he just doesn't know. If
you look at the face that he makes now as a heel, the like scowly kind of heel face that he's trying to make. You go and look at him in the first Fast and Furious that he's in. It's the same face.
Yeah,
it's the same face. Like I hate saying it because I think he's been amazing, and every time I see that John Cena's in a film, I go, oh, like Heads of State. He tweeted yesterday a trailer for a film called Heads of State where John Cena's the president, right? Yeah. And Idris Elba is the prime minister, and both of them get attacked, and both of them have got to fight the way out and survive, right? The trailer actually looks like it's a bit of like a White House Down, but with comedy.
Right, okay.
It's more of like an action comedy kind of film, and I'll watch it every time I see a film and it's got Cena in it. I'll watch it because I've watched him for the last 20 years. I don't actually think he's a very good actor. I watch him act in these films and he makes me cringe.
I don't know what it is. This heel turn is just cringy. It just comes across forced, and I think it's because he's been a babyface for such a long time. I think even him has forgotten how to be a heel.
Yeah.
And yeah. But yeah, we'll go back to the match. I was expecting The Rock to come out and other people. We all predicted this sort of stuff. And then we had Travis come out.
I mean, honestly, how I'm getting sick and tired of hearing Triple H saying, "Oh yeah, but this is amazing because we're getting new eyes on our products." I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Cater to your hardcore wrestling fans. You're not going to go wrong if you're putting them first, rather than going fuck the hardcore wrestling fans. I've been watching it for 30 years. You've been watching it 35, 36 years. You know, I'm assuming you're about 5 when you started watching it. So we've been watching it for a combined 6 decades, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's people like us that doing shit like that is going, yeah, fuck you. We'd rather get Travis Scott fans or people that are rap fans going, oh, Travis Scott's involved in Mania, I'm going to check that out. And it's all about, we're getting new eyes on it. Yeah, but that's all right if you're not going to piss off your paying audience, because a Travis Scott fan isn't going to go, right, well, now I'm going to start paying tickets and go and watching a wrestling show. No, that's your fans that have paid them tickets and that have tuned in and watched every single week for the last 30 fucking years, that in the main event of WrestleMania between Cena and Cody, you think it's a good idea to bring Travis fucking Scott out in the middle of a main event. It's bullshit.
You could have brought out anybody except him, right? But the thing that was even worse was at the end when Cena's celebrating, you have Travis Scott next to him, and I was like, this is a bigger night for. He's just won his 17th title, and there's this bloke with a hardcore title, which is just given, and it was just there. I was like,
oh, it was awful. It was
it wasn't
awful. Now, again, Rock was on the Pat McAfee show on Tuesday, saying that the reason why he said he had a conversation with Triple H and he said, look, if you want the final boss to be involved in the main event, I'll do it. But Rock said that he just felt like that moment was so big that, you know, this was John's moment, you know, that Cena's winning the 17th title and that moment should be about John. Whereas if The Rock's there, if the final boss is there, it takes a bit of the shine off John. It takes a bit of the light off John. But what would have been better, The Rock being there or Travis fucking Scott?
Yeah.
So I'm not being funny, Rock. You can't say I don't want to be there because this moment's about John and I don't want to take anything away from him when he's broke the record and he's now on 17. But you've got Travis Scott there holding his hand up, a fucking rapper.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. It's utter fucking bullshit.
It was the whole main event was.
It was awful.
It was awful. It was a letdown.
Why are they booing Cody? So I'm now confused. Me and you were sat there confused, going, "Why are they booing Cody? This doesn't make any sense."
The crowd were booing Cody. There was just something off about the whole thing. It was clear. It was clear that John Cena was going to win, but I think it's also clear now that we won't see Cody for a couple of months.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna. He's had the title for a year. I think they're going to say, go home, rest up, have a couple of months off and come back.
Yeah. I agree. I think I've seen so many people, just wrestling fans, tweet this.
Yeah.
And then Rock and Triple H have both mentioned it as well, saying, well, Cena has been telling everyone for weeks that he's going to ruin wrestling. Well, that's why the main event in Mania was so bad and it weren't a good wrestling match, because Cena's purposely trying to ruin wrestling, so he's purposely going to make the match shit. No one's falling for that. Cena can't go anymore. I mean, he's never been the greatest wrestler. Right? He's not an AJ Styles, is he? He's not a Seth.
No.
You know, he's not.
No, he's a Rock or an Austin. He has a set move set, and then
Yes.
uses that every
And he's
time.
very
There's a lot of
resourceful.
wrestlers that do that.
Yeah. Look, if you go back to even 5 years ago, he was still capable of putting on amazing matches. I personally don't think now he's capable of putting on a top quality match. I think he's
Yeah.
too old now, which is why he's retiring. But don't be coming out with this bullshit of, oh, well, he's doing it on purpose because he's trying to ruin wrestling. No one's falling for that. The match was shit because, unfortunately, Cena is now shit.
Yeah. We'll talk about obviously the opening for Raw now.
Yeah, we'll quickly speak about Raw and then we'll wrap it up. 10 minutes on Raw and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, so basically Cena comes out, he cuts another cringy promo, which we've been talking about.
Very cringy.
And then Randy Orton comes out and RKO's him. Now, I did also predict this a couple of weeks ago on our podcast. I did predict this. I said we're going to get Cena and we're going to go through the lineage. So we're going to get Randy Orton, CM Punk. He's gonna wrestle all these people. You said as well he's going to wrestle, Austin Theory and all these other people that he's got as well. There's a lot of young people. We're going to have, Drew McIntyre. All those sort of matches we're going to get.
Yeah.
He did say on Raw he's only got 36 more appearances. That's not wrestling.
No, he counted it down. There's 27 left now.
Right, 27 appearances. Yeah, I have seen his schedule. They did publish his schedule. So he is scheduled to be at every SmackDown over the next 2 months, also at the pay-per-views as well. So he's gonna drop the title, right? And he's not going to leave WWE as a heel, right? That's another thing as well. Let's get all this out in the open, right? He's not going to retire. He's not going to have his last match in WWE as a heel. That ain't going to happen. He's going to be a babyface. So at some point, they're going to turn him again. He's going to drop the title before he goes as well. I know he said when he was cutting the promo, he goes, when I leave and I'm still champion, I'm taking this with me. Well, hang on, CM Punk did that years ago in 2012.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I genuinely wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if his last match he wins and he leaves with the belt, because I think what he's done for wrestling and what he's achieved for wrestling and how much WWE has grown off the back of him. Especially if you look at the first 15 years of his career and everything that he did for WWE. I actually wouldn't be surprised if they went, you know what, we're going to retire that belt with you. And we will create a new belt after you've left. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be Orton Cena in about 3 weeks at Backlash. It's in St. Louis, which is Orton's hometown. But I can't see Orton beating him.
No.
And realistically, he should.
Hopefully, we get a proper match, a proper classic wrestling match like they've done before, the two of them. I mean, they've had a big rivalry before, so hopefully we get something better than we did at Bloody Mania. That's for sure. Then we touched on Ricochet and Liv losing the titles and Becky turning heel. Where do they go with this? A lot of people have speculated. They went, hang on a minute, Seth's heel, Becky's a heel. Could she be joining?
Maybe.
Obviously, as well, we mentioned JD. So we had an intercontinental match between Penta and Dom. JD returned and helped him to retain. We had a bit of backstage banter between Balor and Dom.
Yeah.
Where he was like, oh, yeah, it's good, sort of smiling. And then when the camera pans, he's like, and just looks at the title instead, as if say, I'm almost certain that Finn Balor's going to win that title, and they're going to turn on him. What other things were there? I'm trying to think now. Just a couple of days ago.
Well, I've already mentioned it. Io and Stephanie Vicaire, great moment for Stephanie.
It was bizarre. So Stephanie Vicaire come out. She is the NXT Women's Champion at the moment. And she came out and she goes, I want to face the best and you're the best. So let's face. The match ended by DQ because we had Roxanne Perez and Julia turn up.
Yeah.
Then Rhea come out and stared down Julia, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is a match that's going to happen." Yeah, you could tell that Julia's going to come up and they're going to have a match because I think what would have normally have happened was Rhea would have chucked her out or beat her up or hit her, but they didn't do anything. They just stared at each other and she went out the ring.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was that. That was a good match. It shows you that they're showcasing some NXT titles. So I don't know whether that was to build up NXT or whether to get them ready for coming up.
Both, probably.
Then we had obviously the re-debut of Rusev.
Yeah.
Looking animalistic like he always does.
Yeah.
Come running down.
I was surprised Lana wasn't with him.
Yeah, because she signed as well. She signed a Legends deal.
But she was there backstage.
Yeah. I just thought it was a bit bizarre. So he came out, he chased away Alpha. He chased away New Day and then built up Alpha Academy for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what all that was about.
Weird.
It was just obviously he's come out, but he chased off the New Day. So you go, oh, he's a baby face, and then he beats up Alpha Academy. He's like, so is he a heel or is he a baby face? I don't know what all that was about. I don't know why.
No.
He saved Alpha Academy and then beat them up.
I don't know.
I don't know what was all that about, but he is back. Rusev Day is back. We knew this was coming. This was all like said. Yeah. What else was there?
I think there was just the main event, wasn't it?
Well, no, there was an altercation backstage, weren't there, with Cross and I think it was AJ Styles.
Yeah.
As well, so they were obviously building something up, which would, I mean, if those two build it right, could be an absolute banger. I think. At Backlash if they do that.
Yeah.
And then we had sort of the main event where Seth was there, and then we had Punk come out, who was then taken out, and then Roman come out and fucking destroyed Seth. And then sort of beat up Steph, and then sort of beat a little bit up on Heyman, and then was obviously about to spear him. Then a hooded person comes out, spears him back, and up Braun Breaker. So and then we're like, so why is he here? And then obviously you can see Steph's sort of like you're saying, he doesn't even have to look. He's like, he knows who it is. He's like, yeah, this was the plan.
Yeah. I think one of my best mates, Cole, he messaged me, wasn't happy that he doesn't like Seth being with Heyman, which I get. He thinks that Seth's too good on his own and it's going to hold him back. And I get all that. I get Seth is incredible, and I understand people saying that this might hold Seth's career back in being like the leader of the faction, when he's so good. But at the same time, it didn't hold Triple H back when Triple H ran that Evolution, did it? And I think there's already so many comparisons. Like Seth Rollins has been compared to Triple H since he debuted as fucking Tyler Black 20 years ago. Like there's been so many comparisons.
Yeah.
He turned on the Shield to join Triple H's authority. He started using Triple H's pedigree as a move. He even used the pedigree at Mania. He went for the pedigree. He still uses Triple H's pedigree. There's already you're remaking.
I mean, actually going back to that, did you see that awesome move where he turned the spear into a pedigree in Roman?
Yeah. So because so he still uses it. The pedigree. There's so many comparisons already between Triple H and Seth Rollins. So if you're remaking Evolution, Seth Rollins is the Triple H of that group. Paul Heyman would be the Ric Flair. Braun Breaker would be the Batista. You just need a Randy Orton. And I personally, I don't think there's anyone better than Austin Theory. I really don't. I think he is a mixture of Cena, a young Cena and a young Orton, because Cena and Orton were his two heroes, because he's the same age roughly as me. He might be 3-4 years younger than me. But when he was growing up, Cena and Orton were his two heroes, the way that Rock and Austin were when I was really young. Cena and Orton were his two favourites. So yeah, there is comparisons to young Cena and young Orton. I think Austin Theory, if you look at the way Austin Theory is now, I mean, he's been buried for the last 12 months with Grayson Waller. I thought them sticking him with Grayson Waller because Waller's got a bit of personality and a bit of charisma, and he's very good on the mic. And and it just, I mean, they did give him the tag belts last year, but this last 12 months they haven't really used them at all. We've barely seen them. But I think if when he does wrestle, if you look, you can tell how talented he is. He's very very
Yeah.
young, he's very raw, but you can tell how talented of a wrestler he is every time he wrestles. It does remind you of a young Randy Orton.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
I don't know if they're obviously doing a faction, but I don't know. At the moment, I can see there being a tag team match at Backlash between Breaker, Seth, Punk, and Roman.
Yeah.
But I said to my wife, I said to Kirsty, I said, I can. There's going to be a faction versus a faction, and it's going to be the Bloodline. He's going to have to try and get Jimmy, Jay, or Solo or someone back to build up the Bloodline. I said you got to remember, CM Punk helped them as the Bloodline at War Games.
Yeah.
So is he going to join them to take down this new faction? We'll have to see who else is in this faction, because I don't think, like you're saying, I don't think we've finished yet.
No,
I think there's other people to be added.
I mean, I hope Austin Theory joins. I think if they do add a woman, Becky, it makes sense because of obviously Seth. But to be fair, Becky and Seth have tried to keep it separate, the personal life. So I'm unless things I don't know, but it's exciting.
Did you see the interview after Mania with Becky?
Yeah, with Rue.
She said, "What? Huh? With her daughter." No, she said though. She said that if she's coming back, she's all in.
Yes,
and she goes unless something, and she was like with the kid, unless something takes me away again. She goes, I'm here for the long try. So I suppose she's going to be hanging around a bit. So.
Yeah, but like I said before, I just don't really understand turning a heel because they've already got so many heels. Like, have they got like, forget what happened at Mania because Mania crowds are fucking mental. Like, it's always mental. But for the last like 2 to 3 years, Cody Rhodes has been massive babyface. Have the women got that? Because like I was saying, the best example you could give for that is that they've got is Rhea. Rhea gets a massive reaction every time the music hits. But she's not a baby face in that sense. Of course, of course, at the minute she is a baby face, but she's not like the big baby face of the company. She's got, she's still got darkness in her character. She's not a traditional baby face.
Yeah,
and I think, in my opinion, the man character of Becky Lynch when she became Becky Two Belts at Mania and all that time period, that like 6 months before, 6 months after that, no woman has ever reached the heights that she reached in that 12-month period. Like, I remember when SmackDown moved to Fox, it was the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox. Triple H turned up. Triple H opened the show. Rock turned up, and then Becky Lynch came out and like had a like an interaction with Rock. I think she manhandle slammed, I think, like Baron Corbin or someone like that. And then her and Rock shared a bit of a moment in the ring, blah blah blah. And when Becky Lynch's music hit, she got a bigger pop than what The Rock got.
Yeah.
Like, no woman has ever received that level of pop from the fans. It was so they haven't got that at the minute within the women's roster. They bring her back at Mania. She gets this monster pop because she's this the man character is a massive babyface. They win the tag titles. They drop the tag titles 24 hours later, and then she turns heel. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. I don't know why they turned her heel.
No idea, but I think we're going to leave it there because we've gone on for a while. Because there was a lot to discuss. So
we had 2 nights of Mania and a Raw.
I think I think overall I liked WrestleMania, even though we've sort of picked apart the matches. I think actually it was okay. It wasn't the best. It never was the best, but I think it was okay for what it was. Like you were saying, I think the Raw afterwards was much better.
The Raw was amazing, yeah.
The this week's SmackDowns, I think, is going to be amazing as well.
It'll be incredible. Yeah. This week's SmackDown will be incredible. Obviously, we've got the TLC match. We've got Aleister Black's second debut.
Yeah, John Cena's scheduled to appear as well. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if Roman appears and CM Punk. That'd be interesting. But we'll have to leave it there. But
Yeah.
thanks, Dan, for coming along. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I know it's gone on for a little bit longer than normal, but it
Yeah,
is what it is.
I mean, we have got an hour and a half instead of an hour, but at the same time, we've got 4 hours
Mania.
night one, 4 hours night two, and 3 hours of Raw. We're trying to cram what happened in 11 hours worth of wrestling. It's very
It
hard to
is,
do in an
yeah,
hour.
yeah. But yeah, look, overall, it was all right. I mean,
Yeah,
it wasn't the best. But
like I said on Mania, I really enjoyed night one. I think there was elements of it that could have felt more like a WrestleMania, where the matches could have been a little bit better and felt like this is a WrestleMania caliber match. I
yeah,
think night one, I've not really got too many complaints about night one because I really enjoyed it. Night two, I did feel like it was a big letdown.
yeah.
But hey ho.
Anyway, look, thank you guys for listening and watching. Make sure you click like, subscribe, all that. Leave a comment,
Yeah.
and we'll be back next time. So, as always, I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. See you next time, guys.
We'll see you next time, guys. Take it easy.
Tune into the channel. Nexus is the name. All the hottest content. You'll never be the same. Laughs and thrills, excitement.